Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. On this channel we talk about fiction, we talk about philosophy, we talk about religion, we talk about the Bible, we talk about stories in general, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the story of Iron John, which was originally a very old folk tale, and the author, Robert Bly, wrote a book about it, which was the jumping off springboard book that launched the modern men's movement. It revitalized the mythology around manhood, rites of passage from boyhood to manhood, and it ushered in a whole new men's movement of men reclaiming their masculinity in the face of feminism. And as I've talked about previously on the channel, fairy tales, which have been used to hand down wisdom in fictional form for millennia, since the dawn of human civilization, have radically changed in recent times. Most of what we think of as fairy tales, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all of those are very, very recent. They were written by Charles Perrault and very, very loosely based on much, much older stories. And Perrault sanitized them heavily and took out a lot of their inner symbolism, especially if you read the original version of Cinderella. It is nothing like the version that we have now. It's much darker, much bloodier, and a lot of the symbolism related to child development and the growth to adulthood has been removed. And we see the same thing with Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. Hans Christian Andersen's stories are entirely original. They are not based on anything older than whatever he had in his mind. He introduced a lot of Christian symbolism and theology and values that were not present in the old stories. And we see this primarily in the works of the Brothers Grimm, who went around Europe gathering up and recording all of these old stories that are far, far older, thousands of years old, that transmit information down through the generations about how the world works, how humanity works, how people develop from childhood to adulthood and grow into their responsibilities. And the book Iron John is based on a story that was collected by the Brothers Grimm, which came from either Germany or Scandinavia, and the original story is called Iron Hans, which is originally about the wild man myth of the wild man from the forest. The protagonist is a boy. He's the son of a king. He gets kidnapped by the wild man and abducted to the forest, and the wild man raises him as his own, and the boy goes through a process of development where he defeats the armies of a rival king to win the hand of a princess that he marries, and the boy eventually grows up to become king. And it is an archetype of male development, of first getting abducted by the wild man, the wild, primal, masculine nature of what it means to be a man. He gets carried off unwillingly to the forest, to the unknown, where he goes through trials and training, and he eventually befriends the wild man and eventually becomes like a son to the wild man. And this is how the boy develops into the man who will become king. And Robert Bly, he was not a historian, he was a poet. And a lot of the book is poetry that was written by him about the process of embracing and embodying masculinity, and how necessary it is for men to go through this process, for boys to go through rites of passage that mark them, that they're no longer boys when they become men recognized by society, and how we as a society have lost all that, which is why men are struggling so much these days. Robert Bly gave the men of the world a priceless gift when he wrote this book. This book was a major, major eye-opener for me. And in next week's video, I'm going to talk about another story by the Brothers Grimm. It's my favorite Grimm's fairy tale, which details female development. And I'm talking about how it follows the development of the female child, dealing with her family, how she embraces her gifts, and eventually grows up to become the person that she is supposed to be. So if you haven't read Iron John, I highly recommend it. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, the information in the book it's priceless. And nowadays we see this information as commonplace. Most of us already accept it, and the reason for that is because Robert Bly broke the silence. He was the first person who did it. He's considered the father of the modern men's movement, and for good reason. This book is the reason why. So that's just a short video. We'll talk a bit further about female archetypes next week. See you then.